Hi, I'm Joy Roby, and I'm here with Marilyn Harper. And I wanted to just record a quick conversation with her about the Selenite swords. Inevitably, we are in a hotel room as we travel across the country at events with Lee Carroll and also with our own plurk shops. And inevitably, when we have our table up at a plurk shop, we have our Selenite swords there, and people are very curious about them. And they ask us a lot of questions. And then afterwards, when they purchase a sword, they say, "Do you have this information on your website?" Well, you know what? Now we will. So I'm going to turn the camera over to Marilyn as I interview her and ask her a few questions about the Selenite swords. There's Marilyn.
Hello.
So
and here's my sword.
So Marilyn, one of the things that people often want to know about the swords is who's behind them. You channel many different beings, and who is actually using the swords? Because I've watched you, and you can't get into some of the positions that whoever's wielding the swords does.
That's correct. We always knew that on the council of 12 or more, Adironda's the spokesbeing, but we always knew that there was another energy that came in during the activations with the Selenite swords. We didn't know who that was until we went to Egypt a couple of years ago with Lee, and we realized that it was Sekhmet. Now, Sekhmet is the goddess of destruction and the goddess of creation. So she has a tremendous amount of energy behind her, and she also has that energy that's connected with the you will see pictures of her with the head of a lion and the body of a woman. She's very powerful. In fact, she's one of the most powerful goddesses in Egyptian history. According to Lee Carroll, Cryon, that Sekhmet was Pleiadian and seeded that part of the world with the energy, with the human energy. And so we believe she is the one that wields the sword when we do our activations in groups. Now, not everybody moves like that with the Selenite sword, so don't necessarily expect Sekhmet to come through with you when you are wielding your own Selenite sword.
So, Marilyn, when you are at these events, and you come out, and there might be, 50 people, there might be 3,000 people. What are you actually doing? You're whipping the sword around, you're pointing at people, sometimes you're touching people, it looks like you're cutting things in, like virtually in air. What actually is happening?
So the Selenite Sword of Light follows the intention of the user and the intention of the receiver. So what we are doing in that capacity is we are activating. It is our intention to activate whatever is in your own personal highest good to be activated, and to deactivate whatever is in your highest good to be deactivated. In other words, those old patterns or programs that you're just ready to let go of, those old energies that you're ready to have in a different capacity that are not in charge of your decision-making process. I do not control it. I do not have any input there. Sekhmet comes in and handles the energy. Sometimes she sees something within other people that she activates or deactivates or whisks away from their energy field. And again, it's not something that I control or intend. My intention is that whatever is in the highest good of whoever is present will happen.
So let's talk about the swords themselves. I apologize for this makeshift tripod called my hand that I'm using. Let's talk about the swords themselves, Marilyn. What makes, we see selenite all the time, right? We see selenite rods and selenite rock everywhere. What makes the sword, which is mostly made of selenite, so much more different than, say, a Vogel? Well, I don't think Vogels are selenite, but another type of wand that's made out of selenite.
Well, that's a very good question. The end of the Selenite Sword of Light is indeed selenite, and it's very pure. Takes a specific kind of selenite to get it to go as smoothly as it does. It is something that the Selenite sword maker makes. In the handle, however, it's in a copper tube, and there's all kinds of stuff in the handle. There's over 400 chakra balancing crystals. There's a vial of ayahuasca from a Peruvian shaman. There's a vial of holy water from 40 different sacred water sites on the planet, like the River Nile, the River Jordan, the Ganges River, Mount Shasta, Mount Fiji, all different kinds of sacred sites on the planet with the sacred water. There's also magnets in between those two, so that magnetizes the energy of purity into it. Then there's all the Lemurian tones, the pineal tones, artwork and symbols are in the handle of each one of these. And in some of them, there's all of the Ascended Masters' artwork and symbols. And some of them may have sand from the pyramids in Egypt. Some of them may have sand from the Mojave Desert in Israel. And they pick their owner, and they each are just a little different. They're all handmade, and they're each just a little different in their experience. But because of everything that's in the handle, that's capped in copper and with magnets on the inside of it, that is why they wield such a strong energy. And that's why they can move the energy and shift the energy in an entire room.
Now, sometimes when you are wielding the swords from the stage and you get off the stage and you go out through the audience, people experience immense emotion. I've seen grown men burst into tears, something that they're not used to, and it's very confusing to them. Would you like to address that? Is that Sekhmet or is that Adironda?
Well, Adironda carries the energy of and wants each person connected to feel the energy of pure, unconditional love. And we don't get to feel that very often. Sekhmet doesn't necessarily wield the energy of unconditional love, but as with the Selenite swords, or with the messages at the end of the Selenite sword activation in groups, that energy of unconditional love comes in, and that vibration expands. When Sekhmet comes up to individuals, things shift around. I don't even know what all shifts. Whatever is in your highest good to be shifted, that is what happens.
Now, something else I've noticed, because we only sell the Selenite swords at our table when we're doing live events. We don't sell them online because each one is unique, and we'd have to take a photo of each one and put it up online, and that's just a little bit too much work for our crazy schedule, our busy schedule. So we really only sell them when we're at an event live and in person, and we do carry them from event to event. One thing that I've noticed is, and you mentioned it just a few minutes ago, is you said they pick their owners. I've noticed, some people can walk past the table and never even give it a second look. Other people are drawn to them. They can't walk away from them. They come back again and again over the weekend. And it's true, finally, they do end up with a sword. As you say, it picks its owner. What do you think that's about? Do you think that it's about past lives? Do you think that they already know how to use it, but they don't know in this life? Can you just expand upon that a little bit more about it picks their owner?
Well, that's the difference between me and a lot of people. I don't question things. I don't ask questions. How do they pick their owner? I have sold a few intuitively, where I will intuit up to 3 swords, and then I send the pictures of those to the individual, and then they intuit which one is theirs. So they can purchase them in that capacity. It's a little more work. However, the sword itself is an energy that is it's not alive, but your soul recognizes the energy that is created in that sword of light. And it's my intention that whoever purchases a sword of light from me, that their soul knows how to use it, so they can they don't have to question it. And and I've watched it time and time again that people come by the table once, they pick up a sword, they look at it and say, "Wow, that's impressive," and they look at the price and they put it back down. Then throughout the weekend, they come and pick up all the swords and they go back to that first sword and they usually purchase that. If they don't, then I may have it the next time I see them because that sword has already picked them. And and it's hard to explain. Sometimes people with their ego, they want the biggest, bestest, most magnificent sword, and the sword that is theirs may be the smallest one that I have. So it's really interesting to see and watch people as the sword draws them to itself and expresses that I am yours and I will go home with you. And it's really fascinating how that works.
Something else I've witnessed is that some people pick them up and immediately know how to use them. It's really amazing. And they don't even know, they just start moving with it and it's so natural. Other people are drawn to them, but they want to take a class. Is there something, what would you say to those people that want to take a class? Or what would you say to anybody who picks up the swords about our mastery class? Because we do teach a mastery class.
Well, your soul already knows how to use the sword. That's first. You put it where the pain is, you put it where the energy goes, and you just follow that. But the mastery class, we have 3 levels of the Selenite Sword Mastery Class. Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. It is a certification that Tom Letter, the creator, and I, and Adironda, and the council get together once a year, and we have created this mastery class that really is about learning new aspects, that really is about learning the new vision of you. It's about learning the new way to use the sword. It's about doing the light body activation that Joy does. The mastery class that comes in is a channeled class. Adironda is there the whole time, and we channel once or twice a day and do the activation with Sekhmet. And Sekhmet is a creator of the sword. And Sekhmet communicates through Tom when he creates the Selenite swords. Tom actually has some new swords that are laser infused, that have the flower of life embossed or lasered on the blade of the Selenite sword of light. And they are different in the energy, and they're all so powerful, whether they've got the laser infused flower of life or they're a sword that people pick my sword up all the time and think, whoa, this has a lot of energy to it. And I think it's just because I've used it so much. The Selenite sword of light that doesn't pick up any negative energy. It doesn't pick up anything from anybody else. So know that it is the Selenite sword of light that is yours, or the Selenite sword of light that your soul already knows how to use. In the mastery class, you learn new ways to use it, but your soul still knows how to use it already. I used to put my Selenite sword of light by my bed at night and asked it to help me sleep better, and it did. I would put it in a room and set it and ask it on the mantle and say, please keep this room in balance. There's so many different ways that you can use it. My mom, who was diagnosed with diverticulosis, doesn't believe in any of this. She just put the Selenite sword where the pain was, and a week later she went back for an x-ray and had no diverticulosis. So, the sword really helps clear out things that you ready to let go of. And it helps clear pain, it helps balance the energy, it helps clear your energy and balance your energy, and they're quite powerful to work with. And you can fly with them. You have to put them in your checked luggage when you fly with it.
I don't really, as you know, I don't really consider myself a healer. It's not something that I do on a regular basis, though I have taken the classes and I know what to do. I notice that when I pick up the sword, I feel like a Wonder Woman. It's like a confidence boost. And I do have 2 swords, and as you mentioned I love to do the light body activations. Um, do you think that there's something in that when I pick up the sword, I actually feel more power? Is one part of the question. And the other part of the question is, do people really need more than one sword? Can they just use one sword alone?
You know, it's all in the preferences. Uh, does it magnify your power? It follows your intention. So if your intention is to be all that you are, or all that you could be, it may magnify what you are on a larger scale. Can people use one sword? Absolutely. I use one sword. I used to use one sword before I got two. Now I use two swords. It is all in your energy and your intention. One sword works, two swords work too. I have several people that have 3 or 4 swords, and they use them for different things. It really is your personal preference. It's really whatever is in your own highest good that you are drawn to, and to know that if it is yours to have more than one sword of light, you may. If it is yours to have one sword of light, you may. And give yourself permission to really have whatever it is that is in your own personal highest good to have.
And finally, I've also noticed that the people who purchase the swords, they're kind of a community. You know, they come to the mastery class, they connect. We've invited people who've taken the class to come to other events, and we've done group activations with dozens of people standing around. For those people who may have taken the class before, the mastery class, is there a benefit to come back to the mastery class, you know, again the next year, or maybe even at a later time? Since we only do this once a year, you know, they may want to know if there's any value in that for them.
You know, absolutely. I think there's always value when you connect in with others in your community, when you breathe in and you gather people together. There's strength in numbers, and so with that energy, with that focus, is there a benefit to come back to the class a second time? Sure. You know, in everything that we do, we take whatever you are, wherever you begin, we take that to the next level. And so if you come back a second time, you'll take it to the next level. If you come back a third time, we'll still take it to the next level. So, because the whole idea is to raise your vibrational frequency to the highest vibration possible. So you can raise above the troubles of the world, raise above the energy of the world that no longer serves your highest good, and know what to do about it. It's really a power-filled course. And we only do it once a year. And Tom Letter and I, when we get together, it is very strong. Plus, we only allow a certain number of people into the class. So everybody gets personalized attention. So everybody gets personalized attention with Tom and I, and with Joy. And we learn how to rebalance our food. We learn how to rebalance our bodies. We learn how to take and accelerate the movement within our bodies. And we just teach a lot of things that you would not know on your own if you were just bought your sword and carried it around with you and used it. It is perfect in that capacity. But at the Selenite Sword of Light Mastery Class 1, Level 2, Level 3, they're all done in the same weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It accelerates the master that is within you.
Okay, one last request, and I almost hesitate to say this to you because I know the response is often we are not a dial-a-channel. But that's how well I know Marilyn. Is there any chance that maybe Sekhmet might like to say something about the swords? I've never, experienced this before, but what the heck? Is there any opportunity, or is there any chance that Sekhmet might come through and give us a little message?
So you see, we are not a dialer channel. But know, dearest, that as you are indeed wielding the Selenite sword of light, that it is a technique that is thousands of years old, a technique that is as old as time, as old as the Selenite itself. You are the creator. You are that energy of creation, and we ask you, each of you, to step up to the plate. We ask each of you to be in that energy. There are some that say that we are a very strong energy. We came from a very long way away. To be here today, to know who you are. This is not a weapon. This is a guiding light of your future. It is like in the days where they had quartz crystal in the radio. They have selenite in the acknowledgement of the future, because it follows your intention. So, dearest beings of light, you must trust that this selenite is a wielding futuristic light, and it will accommodate your intention to activate whatever is in your highest good to be activated. It will also deactivate whatever is in your highest good that you're choosing to let go of now. So what is it that no longer serves your highest good or your highest joy? What is that? When you think about it and dwell upon it, you know it gets larger. So why not just let it go? Namaste.
Wow, that doesn't usually happen. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any other questions about Sekhmet or about the Selenite swords or comments, please leave a comment below on this blog post. We are so grateful for you, our Adironda family, and we are so grateful for those of you who've stepped forward to use the Selenite swords to help in the shift of the planet, because as you know, that is our mission too. As Marilyn said, as Sekhmet said, as Adironda says, namaste. As Marilyn says, and Joy says, namaste, y'all. Namaste.